That's a very nice answer. Let's talk a little bit about market research and data analysis. How important is market research and data analysis in the multifamily real estate industry? And how can new agent leverage all this technology and all this information that is available?
Yeah, so market research is very important. Just like anything, like you need to understand the market, you need to understand the property, right? So when we're looking at market research, we start with the property, then we look at the location of the property, then we look at the submarket, and then we look at the market, right? And then overall conditions nationally of what's happening. So there are different levels of things that you need to know about. Typically, these things don't change overnight, right? So it's not like every property you're looking at this. So, but you're looking at the submarket report, the property location, and also a market. For example, if I am looking at Dallas Fort Worth is the market, then the property is located in Plano, Frisco area. Then I'll be looking at that submarket, and then I'll be looking at the specific location of the property to see what's happening there, any zoning changes, what's happening with the demand there. Is there more people moving in there? Is there more growth? What's the vacancy? Or vacancy of other properties in the area. So a lot of those things that need to be factored in as part of your analysis, because these are usually big investments, right? So you need to make sure that you understand the market and what the market dynamics are before you make your final decision.
Right. I guess every property gets affected by the macro economic issues that are happening nationwide or that are happening in Texas. And then also are the micro issues around the neighborhood, the city. Can you talk a little bit about it and tell us what is more important?
Yeah, I think now we are all going through a very rapid increase in the interest rate. So that's a good example of a macro where this is nationwide. Everybody are facing those challenges, right? So that's certainly one thing. The micro level, you're looking at a new company moving into town, right? That'll be a good example of a lot of high demand, because when a new company moves into town, it's going to create a lot of, not only it's going to create a lot of jobs in that area for that company, but it's also going to create a lot of other jobs to support those increase in employment, right? So that's all going to drive demand in an area. So it's good to know. And, the same way, it could be the opposite of that, flip side of that, right? And make a company may shut down, which is going to bring a big impact to that area as far as demand goes, right? So you need to be aware of what's happening in the market. Obviously, construction going on, road construction, other development in the area. These are all good signs, right? There is more demand in the area as well. So also look at the crime. So you can see an area where the crime is very high on one side of the street and the crime may be low on the other side of the street, right? So those are things that you should be aware of, what's happening in the neighborhood, and school districts, things like that, which is important to people, right, who live
With market research, you can secure the analysis that you did and the exit strategy and the cash flow that you have for that property. That's a correlation.
Yes. So, I mean, the cash flow of the property is a direct correlation of how you operate the property, right? So, so if you can operate the property well and keep your vacancy down, keep your costs down, and again, it depends on how much you bought the property for and how much is your financing cost and everything else, right? So all of this is connected. So sometimes people are looking for appreciation. They are looking for less cash flow, right? So some investors don't care too much about cash flow. For them, maybe a 3 to 5% cash flow is a good deal. And they're looking for an appreciation and long-term hold. So a lot of institutional investors are looking for, or the REITs are looking for, when they buy, they're looking for good assets in good areas because they're looking to hold those assets for a long time. Versus, somebody else, some other investment group may be looking for a value add. They may be okay with buying a property in a B class or C class neighborhood because they're looking for a higher return and a quick turnaround, right? To say, hey, I want to get a good profit in 5 years or 3 years, right? So it all depends on the investor itself. But those are things that you factor in. Some people just want to buy the best asset in the best neighborhood and they're willing to pay a premium for it and they're willing to take a lesser return on their money because their goal is to hold it for long term or their goal is to buy good properties in good areas. So everybody is different. The good thing is that we have plenty of investors who are out there looking to buy multifamily properties. You just need to find out, what is the best deal for them.
Right. And to find out what is the best deal for them, what kind of tools or software can I use for to understand multifamily marketing trends? Trends. I know, for example, RPR as a real estate agent, or you can use census.gov to understand information. What other tools do you use?
Well, in my business, we use mostly commercial tools. We start with CoStar. CoStar is one we use for market analysis, market reports, to understand a lot about it. RPR has some of the data. Like you mentioned, Craigsy is another one that's coming up, which has a lot of data and analytics. You just figure out which tool works best for you. So mostly in my personal business, mostly CoStar and Craigsy is what I use the most. And then we also use what's called Site to Do Business. So Site to Do Business, it's part of CCIM, but anybody can get it. And as a candidate member of CCIM, you can get access to Site to Do Business. And Site to Do Business gives you a lot of demographics and a lot of other information, like risk information and stuff like that. So there are other databases, free databases out there like citydata.com. I have a list of, websites that you can go to if you're not paying for a lot of the bigger platforms, you can get a lot of this information from different tools. Most agents have access to RPR. So I will start with RPR to see what's available in RPR first.